I'm 30 years old. I have 3 children. Uh, my drug addiction started at a young age. I was 13 when I started drinking. I liked the effects of drinking because I didn't have a very good perception of myself. So when I drank, I was out of myself. I was confident. I didn't care what other people thought, and I craved that. So that was the only way I knew how to deal with anything, was to do that and to get out of myself. I also, started smoking pot when I was 13. That became an everyday thing. The drinking was just on the weekends. But I needed something to get out of myself every day. And I couldn't stay drunk every day as a kid because it would have made it apparent that I had an issue. So I continued to do that for many years. I have a bad back and a bad neck. I have herniated discs, and I had those at a young age. So I went to doctors, and the doctors, had prescribed me narcotics to get out of pain. And when I was younger, it was here and there. My mom controlled them. But as I got older, I started to tell my mom I was in pain when I wasn't, because I noticed that also got me out of myself. And it was in my mind, it was a valid reason behind taking something. I tricked myself into believing that it was okay to do that because I did have pain. I continued to do that for many years. I wasn't a bad kid in school. I did the best I could to my ability. I also suffer from ADHD, and I noticed that medication also slowed me down. So I started using it every day. I started manipulating people in my life at a very, very young age. It was before I tried any drugs. So the manipulation factor was there, and then when I started the drugs, it was even more prominent, because it was the way I could get the next drug. Manipulating my mom in order to get another pill, because I felt like that got me out of me. As time went on, I went through school. I did graduate high school. I got pregnant at 18 with my first child. I got married at 18. But I made sure that I had sought out somebody that made me feel better about myself, and not because they treated me well. It was ultimately because they were wanted by other people, and I felt like that's what I needed, was somebody that somebody else wanted and I had, to make myself feel better. So I always found outside things to make me feel better about me. And it wasn't like there was no reason or rhyme behind why I felt that way about myself, because my mom and my family always told me that I was, beautiful, and that I was, I was smart. And so it was just a matter of, I just felt that way myself. I got married. I had my first child. I did use during my pregnancies. It's not something I'm proud of. But it is something I did, and by the grace of God, none of my children were addicted to narcotics when they came. I did have my second child with the same marriage at 22. I still was using. I didn't feel that I had a problem, though, because I always had a justification for it. I have a bad back. I have to take these things. So I would justify it, and in turn, I didn't ever feel like it was an issue. I got divorced probably about a year after I had my second child. I was on my own for not long, because I am not only just a drug addict, a heroin addict, an alcoholic, but I am a codependent. I feel like I have to have somebody else in order to complete myself. In turn, I ended up getting with somebody else and getting married and having a third child at 24. And when I got married the second time, it wasn't, again, for the right reasons. It was just to have somebody. My definition of marriage was somebody that had to be with me, whether I was bad or good. And that's what I believe the reason why I did it. I still continued to use. I had her, and the problem was that my use became more and more and more, to the extent of I would run out of my medication. And as most know, when you use narcotics and you run out of a medication, you get sick. I no longer, took them to relieve pain or just because I wanted to. I began to have it. It became a chore. It became a job. I had to do it in order to function for the day. When it turned from just being something that I wanted to do to something that I had to do, that was no longer fun. It was a very sad realization for me. I, in turn, ran out of my script, and pills became pretty expensive for me to purchase extra. And I couldn't get any more than what I was getting from the physician that I was manipulating to get what I got. Because I did manipulate doctors and physicians too. And I always pulled the I have a bad back and it's not helping anymore. I always used that excuse. So my addiction did rev up there, and I ended up talking to a few people, and a few people had talked to me about, well, why don't you just do heroin? It's cheaper, it's the same thing, it's the same buzz. And I said, you know what, I don't feel good, and they caught me on a day that I just wasn't feeling well, and I said, sure, I'm gonna do it. I fell in love. I fell in love because I was completely out of myself for a cheaper cost. I could do all my prescription and know that I could go to this and have this in the turn. And I started using a needle. Not only was I addicted to the drug, but I was addicted to the act of it. I was addicted to the lifestyle. The constant chaos in my life. I felt like I needed that to survive. I took my kids through a lot. My kids went through a lot with me. Was I there to raise them physically? Yes. Did they have clothes on their back? Yes. Did they go to school? Yeah. Was I there mentally and emotionally for my kids? No, I wasn't. Because I couldn't even be mentally and emotionally there for myself. It got to a point where I started losing, the everyday things, the house, the car, those types of things. But I lost myself a long time ago. If you'd have asked me during my addiction, who is Nicole? I couldn't tell you because I didn't know. I had no idea who I was or why I was the way I was. And I think that was a very confusing thing for me, is to not understand why I was this way. As time went on, I began to accept what I was and who I perceived myself as, and my perception is bad. I accepted that I was going to be a heroin addict for the rest of my life. I accepted that I would never amount to anything. I had accepted that I would be in and out of jails and institutions the rest of my life because this is just the way my life is supposed to be. I have a few felony charges, above 3, we'll just say that, due to my addiction. And of course I felt like, my life's over, it doesn't matter anymore, I've got the felonies, I'm never gonna be able to do anything anyways, even if I wanted to. Again, I fed myself lies. My disease, which is addiction, told me that I would not be able to ever do anything. So I started to believe it. And my perception of myself wasn't very good anyways, so it had a way in. I never would admit to anybody that I had a problem. It took me losing everything I absolutely had, and that's not just the physical material things. It was losing myself, losing my family. My mom telling me that I could no longer come to her house, that she had to walk away from me. She was my enabler, and when she realized that she was no longer helping me, because I don't blame her, she doesn't know, and she didn't know. When she realized it, though, she walked away from me, and until I was completely and utterly alone, not just in my mind, but physically alone, I didn't realize that I had a problem until then. I was arrested, and I admitted to my probation officer and my judge and my attorney that I had a problem, and I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know how to stop. I went to jail a few times, and I was in there for 65 days on one of the occasions, and I got out and I thought, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to stay sober. I have no knowledge on how to stay sober, so when I walked out, ultimately, I ended up going back to the same people, the same places, and the same things, and I thought I would be strong enough. It's willpower. Willpower I do not have enough of, and most addicts don't. I was using 2 weeks after I was released. I ended up admitting to my judge and my probation officer and them that I had an issue with alcohol and drugs. And my judge chose to send me to a treatment facility rather than prison. At that point, I had never seen prison, and that's by the grace of God too. He's got a bigger and better plan for me, and I know that today. I went to a rehab facility. I was there for 121 days, and it was 121 days that changed my life. It saved my life. It gave me the knowledge and the tools on what I needed to do to stay sober. How do I do this? It gave me knowledge of myself on why I am wired the way I am, why I think the way I think, why I make the choices that I make. We're not bad people. None of us addicts are bad people. We're good people that have made bad choices, and we just don't know how to get out of it. We're going to be judged. It is what it is. I'm okay with that today. I started doing a 12-step program, which I had absolutely no idea about those. I didn't even know they existed. And of course, my first thought is, that's not going to work for me. How do you know? I had to ask myself, did everything I ever tried to stay sober, when I tried those things, did I ever succeed? And the answer was no. So I had to become open-minded and willing enough to even just give it a shot. And I did. And I worked the 12 steps in the 12-step program that I decided to go to, and it changed my life. Being sober, it's not easy, Life does show up. It's not all rainbows and all these fabulous things. Yes, great things happen to you, but does life come up into your face, and does your past come up and get thrown at you? Yeah, it does. But because I don't live there today, in my past, it doesn't affect me like that. The people that it does affect, that they still live in the past, that's not me. If that's your choice, that's great. But I do have a choice today, and I have a choice to who I'm going to allow around me and what I'm going to allow in my life and accept. Again, like I said, I had 5 felonies before I was 24. I today have a job at a treatment facility. If you'd asked me 2.5 years ago if I thought I'd be working in a treatment facility to help other girls like me to understand that it is possible, I would have told you that you're nuts. But today I can tell you that I absolutely love my job. I get to go to work every day, and I get to tell these girls, listen, just because people tell you that it's not possible, they're lying to you. It is. I'm living proof. From the depths of hell that I came from to where I am today is unimaginable to me. I have my kids. I have a home. I have a vehicle. I have, the ability to show my children love because I know what love is today. I didn't know what love was before. I have a higher power, which I choose to call God. I have a spirituality inside of me, and I rely on God every day to keep me sober. because me and my own self will destroy me. Nicole will destroy Nicole. And I know that in my heart, and I know that without a doubt. So in turn, I have to rely on something bigger and badder than me, and that's God for me. I wasn't raised in a religious family, so I didn't know anything about God or spirituality or anything like that. But the 12-step program showed me those things. My kids are happy to be at home. They don't want to go to their grandma's all the time because they can't stand their mother. They enjoy being at home. I get to be that football or soccer mom that everybody talks about, and I enjoy being it because the smile on my kids' faces is priceless. My probation officer that I talk to randomly here and there to tell me how proud he is of me, and to keep calling because it gives him hope that there are other people that can survive. He knows where I came from, so to see me today is just great for him. It's uplifting. I had a judge shake my hand and tell me how proud he was of me. Never in a million years would I ever thought that. Anytime I went into court, it was for negative reasons only. The people in my life today that are people that I call friends, that are honestly my friends. They don't want something from me. They enjoy my company as I enjoy theirs. I have a significant other. Billy is an amazing man. He loves me and he loves my kids. He's also in the program that I'm in. And again, I learned how to love. All I can say to the addict that's still out there suffering is simply, there is a way out. There honestly is a way out. It's a matter of becoming willing, and when is enough for you? When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you've tried everything you can think of to get sober on your own and it's not working, reach out. Reach out for help, because it is there. There are many of us that are in recovery, and we're recovering from the disease that we have. I'll recover for the rest of my life. The job is never done. I never graduate from being an addict. I can never look somebody in the face and say, I was a drug addict, I no longer am, because I will always be one. I don't wish my life any different than what it was. The experiences that I had and the things that I went through have made me the woman that I am today. Know that you're worth it. Know that you're not worthless. Know that what you're living right now does not have to be acceptable to you. Don't allow your disease to tell you that you're worthless, that you're not worth it, that you can't do these things, because they are possible. Again, I work at a rehab facility with women to help them and to move on. I sponsor girls in the 12-step program that I'm in, and I give them what I got, and that is my higher power, and if you need to use mine, you can. But please reach out, because it is possible.